Hi everyone, welcome to the demo. Can you hear me? I think so. Good. So Daniel, Jeff, Martinez, Troy, Vanier, Victor, welcome. So this will be an open Q&A basically. I mean, I will walk you through the platform, everything you need to know, but then I hold these calls so you can get answers to your questions. And I'm sure that as I share with you what this platform is about, questions will pop up. So just write them in the chat and I will get around to them as quickly as possible. So let's dive right in. Some of you already have accounts, I believe most of you. I've spoken with some of you as well. And if you don't, you can just try for free to create your account. And so this platform is meant to help you connect with investors and raise capital. And there's several levels. We've got a free account, and I'll show you how you can just create your account, get access to everything, and then I'll show you the paid option as well, what's in there, what's available. So this is the main dashboard where you will get once you've gone through the onboarding steps. And I'll show you how it looks as you create your account. So if you haven't already, we have an investment community. It's free to join. We've got a lot of investors, brokers, and people raising capital in there. So what I recommend you do is you go in there, you introduce yourself, what your company is doing, and then people may or may not reach out to you. And so it says billing information here, but you know you don't need to enter a credit card or anything to get access to your account. All you do is just scroll down, check this box here, and activate your account, and that way you'll move on to the next step. Alternatively, if you want, you can trial the paid version for 7 days for free, but you would have to enter some details here and then just press activate. And so as you can see, there's several levels to the platform here. I've categorized it into all the features and what it does into different categories. And we will launch more options later, but right now these are the 2 options. And so obviously it's the investment community where you can share what you're raising money for, engage with people. And it also allows you to actually list your deal, you know, how much capital you're looking to raise for free on this platform. And gradually we'll add more and more community features to this platform. So we're going to allow you to comment, chat with people on the investment hub. Because I know that some people don't like Facebook, they prefer LinkedIn, and some prefer to stay off these platforms altogether. So we want to be able to have an option where everybody can actually participate. And then the other part is we have a database of investors, 100,000 plus investors that you can search, filter, and reach, basically. And then it's the CRM aspect, and that just allows you to get access to all the contact details, track everything. So you tap into our database, but then you have your own CRM, and we will basically just transfer over all the contact details to your own system so that you have it for life. And you'll be able to manage, who's interested, who's not interested. And the next part is marketing and investor relations. So this allows you to actually run campaigns to investors, keep them updated. And this applies, of course, to new investors, people that haven't committed capital with you yet, but also to people that may be your investors currently. So you'll be able to send updates, because that's actually an important aspect. You need to actually keep up the communication even after you've raised money, right? And then the last part is multi-channel lead generator. And this allows you to get about 7 to 15 meetings a month with investors that are interested in your company by running marketing automation campaigns. And we'll talk more about that, but basically on the platform, you can connect your own LinkedIn, your email, etc. And you can use those as distribution channels to the investors. But let's continue right into the platform. And by the way, once you've activated your account, it will ask you to set the password. It will invite you to the community. And optionally, you can provide your investment focus or more information about your investment opportunity. But you can skip some of those steps and just go right to the dashboard and then get back to it later. And again, if you have questions, just write them in the chat. So here you have some next steps. So these steps you may want to follow just to get started as quickly as possible once you do the trial. And if you skip the trial, there will be a button here, free trial. So you can always come back to it later and do the 7 days. And then we've got some free training modules that show you how to do everything. So I've recorded those and you can go through them here. And this is for contacting our support team. So let's start with the investment deals. All of you can do this if you want. And you would submit your deal here, and anyone, investors included, can go in here and find them. And we'll actually build this out more so that they can, filter on these opportunities. But they will be able to go in here, view these, and then schedule a call with you. If you're familiar with Calendly, Calendly.com is a great scheduling application. So you can include your calendar link in these deals, and they can just schedule a call with you at the times you're available. And then later on, I think we'll probably add so that brokers can go in here and claim a deal or participate in a deal. So if you want help raising capital, that's something we are working on as well. So Jeff, I saw somewhere on the side about an accelerator program. What are the details on that? Yes, so we do have an accelerator, and that's where you get access to a 4-week online training on raising capital. And as part of that, you actually get the pro license on this platform for 3 months for free as well. And that cover things like, how to set up the marketing correctly. It will help you draft marketing material. It covers some legal stuff, how to conduct meetings over, conference calls or in person. Is the structure of it the best way to do it? And, how to set up systems, processes, and everything so that you can be successful. And we hold webinars. And at the end of those webinars, we invite you to the accelerator. So if you want to participate in that, on your account, there will be a link here, Investment Accelerator. So you can participate in this. And when you join the accelerator, you'll get the pro license for 3 months, and then it will unlock a section here on left with 4 weeks, a drop-down modules. And then you can go through that. It's a great way to get started. And let's dive into the database. So we got more than 100,000 investors, and you can search and filter here. Everyone is categorized by investor type. So you may want to say, I want family offices. Let's say angels, LPs. And everyone is categorized by location. So you can say, I want everyone in Germany. And I press search. And people will show up. And then there's other filters here as well. So you can search on their investor profile and their investment focus, and then category. So this is where we've categorized people based on the information we found or information they've told us or provided. And there's 700 categories. So it's quite extensive. So you may want to search several of those, but you could search for AI investors or whatever. And then there's another way, and that's to search on actual investments they've done. So you search on the organization's category. So that's 2 ways to search investment focus. But then you can also search on the actual investment firm. So these investors may be part of an organization that has and do specific investments. And so that is a separate search. And you would just select through the firm, and that will render different results often. I mean, it may be a little bit confusing when you can search in 4 ways, but it's different, right? We might make that simpler in the future, but just keep that in mind when you do the searches. And then also, not all investors are mapped out on the investment focus. It's a subset of people that are. So if you have a family office who consider a lot of different investments, they may have, joined the platform here or talked to us and not provided a particular focus. And so if you search for artificial intelligence, they won't show up, but they may still be interested in it. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. So sometimes what you have to think about is this the right type of investor that would actually benefit from what I'm offering and to have that in their portfolio? And then the natural thing to do is search on investor type and the location primarily. And here you've got investors. And you can create a dynamic list or a list. So the list will contain a filter and it will update dynamically, or you can just make it static so that it never changes. And these lists are under lists here. Now we prepared quite a few of these, so you don't have to create them again. So you've got United States, family offices, all pension funds, etc. And you can use these lists to get started quicker. Now this platform is geared toward helping you have your own systems, processes, build your network. It's another tool in your tool belt to raise capital. And it's geared to connecting you with investors. So when we built it, we didn't allow you to go in here and click these investors like this and see their profile and everything. And there's a reason for that. That being said, I think we will add that because I've gotten some requests and I can see the value in that. But basically, the way this works is that when you have a list, you will add the list to a campaign. And the campaign will target them for you. And before we dive into the campaigns, I want to mention something on settings. So on the settings, you can connect your email. So maybe you have a Gmail account, Outlook, or something else. And you would enter your SMTP details, IMAP details, and this will allow you to basically do sending through your email. And then you can connect your LinkedIn. And once you've done that, you will also need to verify it. So you'll get a code to your email. You need to enter it to make sure that it's actually your account. And the reason you do this is because you'll use it in the campaigns later. And then you can connect your CRM, HubSpot in this case. And the reason we have support for HubSpot is because, first of all, I've tested dozens of CRMs and HubSpot is definitely one of the better ones. We use it ourselves. And it's free as well. You just create a free CRM account. You don't need to pay for anything. And then you just connect it to our platform. And then what will happen is that once people enter the campaigns, they will be automatically added over to your CRM so that you own the data. And why would you want a CRM? Well, it's to keep track of the status of the investors, to be able to write notes in there and everything. And our campaigns will actually check the CRM. So you could, for example, build a campaign to say, continue this campaign only if these investors are not yet interested. They haven't basically given you any feedback, or stop this if they are interested. And so on each contact in the CRM, there's a field called status, which is by default, it's new on contacts. But if you change it to interested, etc., the campaigns will know that, and the campaigns are dynamic, and they will check that, and the flow will go in the direction that it should, basically. So Troy, question here. So campaigns are associated with lists. You don't have to deselect individuals. Yeah, correct. So the way you do it is that you create a list, and all the people from that list will gradually be added over to the campaigns. 150 people can enter a campaign, or any number of campaigns. You can run several simultaneously. And so every day, 150 people will be moved over to the campaign. And you can select individual investors and add them over to a list. But there's two types of lists: dynamic ones, where people are added into the list through the filters. So that way you don't have to update them. And then there's the static lists, and that's where you may search for people, and then you can select individual investors and then say, I want to add over the selected ones to this list. And static lists, they don't update because there's no filter, so they will always remain the same. And then you can add that list to a campaign. And you can add multiple lists to a campaign, and it will only add a person once. So it will take the subset of the set and add them over. And then I should mention, because sometimes people ask me, like, why don't you have Salesforce integration? I actually recommend that you use HubSpot even if you already have a CRM. And the reason for that is because you have a sales team, a marketing team, you've got a lot of leads in your CRM, maybe in Salesforce. And now you start reaching out to investors. And I think it's actually a good idea to keep things separate. So you'll have all the leads come into HubSpot. And then now you think, okay, well, I would like them in Salesforce too. But what you can do then is you can use something called Zapier. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but it's a great service to basically connect different systems, and you don't have to be a tech person to do it. It's very intuitive, and we use it ourselves. So you could say, for example, either sync everyone over, two-way sync, or you could say, okay, well, when people or investors in HubSpot become interested, they're marked as interested, then I want to sync them over to Salesforce. So that way you don't have to get everyone into your existing CRM, but you push over the relevant ones. So that's something I can recommend if that's of interest. Yeah, and when you've connected all these accounts, you want to start thinking about the campaign. And here, everyone will have an existing campaign example on your account. And this is kind of how I recommend that you run the campaigns, and I will show you soon. But you can set up your own ones any way you want. And if you want a replica of this one, because you may want to target someone with different marketing messages, then you can create a pre-configured campaign again. And then we got emails and LinkedIn messages. And think of these as the building blocks of the campaigns. So this is for your own reference, name, description. But this is the actual email that will go out. So you modify these templates to whatever you want to have, or create a new one. And then there's a plain version as well, because depending on the email client, they may only accept text and not HTML. You can decide if you want to track opens and clicks, etc. So these are the building blocks. You want to edit all those or create your own ones. And these templates will be reused, and personalized to each investor. And then we've got the actual campaign, and I want you to think about it as the glue that keeps everything together. So let's edit the campaign. So you can change name on it. You can say, I want to publish it on the 1st of February, and then I want it to run for 1 week. Or if you leave it empty, it will continue to run for as long as there's people in there. And you can also say, okay, I don't want to target anyone that I'm currently connected with on LinkedIn. Or if you want to exclude other people because you have concerns, then you can say, okay, I'm going to add those people that I don't want to contact into HubSpot. And then you just press exclude CRM contacts, and it won't connect. It will only connect with new people, basically. So it makes it a bit easier to manage. So where you build the campaign is in the campaign builder. So you want to click launch campaign builder. And this is the flow of the campaign. Now, of course, you can build it any way you want. You can drag this around, edit it, delete, build it from scratch. But let's start from the beginning. So contact source, this is where you select the list. So let's say you want to target family offices in the United States, fund of funds, angels, and then you just press save. Now you got to actually save the campaign as well to have it take effect. But then what will happen is, in this example, it will try to connect on LinkedIn, and you can provide an invitation message. Of course, you can say, I want to connect after 1 day or whatever, but doesn't really make any sense. And then for 3 days, it will check if you are connected with the investor or the person. And if you are, so the green dots is if this, okay, so let's put it this way. The blue boxes are actions, and the red boxes are conditions. So you can create these, but an action does something. It could be send a message and a connection request, and a condition basically evaluates something, and then based on the outcome, true or false, it will take further action for that person. So the green ones is if it evaluates to true, and the red one is if it evaluates to false. So in this case, let's say you're connected. We added another condition, and that's if interest level equals new. So in the HubSpot CRM, you have a field called status, and it will be new by default, but you can change it to interested, not interested, etc. And then you can check for those values. And so what would happen is, when someone engages with you, you talk with them, you typically change it from new to something else. And then our system knows to stop the campaign, because you don't want to be in an awkward position, right? And then if they're still new, it will send them a LinkedIn message, and then same thing. It will wait 7 days, check how they responded, continue to do an email follow-up and stuff like that. And so that's just kind of how that works, and it helps you run things. You know, I've used LinkedIn marketing automation things before, and it's always a mess because you gotta deal with all these spreadsheets, and if you want to send them an email campaign or something, you gotta like tie it all together and upload it here and make all these changes. So this just makes it a lot simpler. And think of this as another tool in your tool belt. I mean, we've got brokers who use this platform to run their communication, to get meetings so they can pitch their deals. And of course, a lot of companies as well, because I mean, we all have in common that we're looking to raise capital, right? And so to do that, we actually need to get in front of the right people. And you need I was going to say holistic approach, but you need to use several methods. Like you actually want to be posting things on social media, market, share your successes, share what you're working on, and people will see that and they will begin to trust you. They will get to know you, and they'll sometimes reach out to you and ask how you're doing and maybe schedule a call with you. So now I've got some questions here. Martinus, the 100,000 plus listed in the hub in earlier dealings, what were the preliminary investors' feedback of their acceptance toward our first reach to them via the investment hub? So are you asking me what the conversions were when my clients have reached out to them? How many were actually interested? How many did actually invest, etc.? Okay, sure. So typically, a campaign allows you to get 150 people per day into the campaign and then connect with them, etc. And out of those, I've already told you on a monthly basis, maybe 7 to 15 are actually interested in what you do and want to have a meeting with you. So what happens is that you have people falling off in the different stages. And this is why we use both LinkedIn and email. So LinkedIn works really well because the engagement is very high and people actually get into your network, you keep them updated. And so it's not like email where they need to be subscribed or, you'll never hear from them again. And so typically 30%, sometimes more than that, 35% of the connection requests are typically accepted. Okay. And all those people you get through to. So that's only like 50 out of the 150. But then our campaigns are set up so that if you don't get through to them on LinkedIn, we'll try email. And email, I mean, you can send a couple of follow-ups, but if their inbox is very full, you're not going to get through to them either, right? And so this is something I know people sometimes, think it's a bit frustrating because it's like you reach out to so many people, but yet you get so little back. Sometimes it can feel like that. But email read rates can be anywhere from 20% up to 40%, depending on the text you're using, the message you're using, how well it resonates with people. But yeah, and then of course, so 7 to 15 meetings is what that ends up resulting in without you doing any extra effort. So this just runs for you and you get all those meetings. But that's what we call the low-hanging fruit. But then I actually recommend that you call people, because an investor who's not on LinkedIn, who have their inbox completely full and get a lot of messages, they can be hard to reach. And what you need to do then is sometimes just give them a call or reach them through some other marketing methods. But you'll get the phone numbers in HubSpot so you can call people. You'll have their details there. So if you don't want to do it, you can get some freelancer or hire someone, have someone on your team do it. We do offer our team for a few of our clients, and we're only so many people. We offer a service where we actually help you call investors and set meetings. So we give them an elevator pitch on the phone, see if they're interested, and then schedule a longer meetings where you actually sit down with them, you find out what their current portfolio is looking like, what are they interested in, and then based on that information, if you think what you do is a good fit for them, and because you gathered information, you know how to present it in a way that makes sense to them. That's how I would recommend doing it. I hope that answered the question. So if you're curious about the database, more like sometimes I get questions about the quality and stuff like that, feel free to ask that in the comments. But I'll move on to Jeff's question. So what's the suggested setup if we're a broker consultant helping multiple companies to raise? Should we list each of our clients in the platform? That's a great question. So we've thought this through, and if you are a broker, typically you will engage with investor as your organization. Your broker will be the face outwards. That means that you're running communication from one email domain, typically. And so you don't actually need to have like separate accounts. You can just set up a separate campaign for each investment opportunity, or alternatively, you do an approach where in your communication, you just say, "Hi, great to connect with you. We connect investors and companies. I have opportunities in these industries, and I'll be happy to have a call with you." That way, you get on a call with them. Same if you're raising for a company, you find out more about them, what their needs are, what could fit in their portfolio. And then you can suggest the different opportunities that you have depending on their situation. Like you wouldn't pitch something to someone unless it makes sense, right? So like when I'm on calls with people, sometimes I just end the call because I don't think it's a good fit for them. And it's the same thing when you're raising money, in my opinion. But there is a way to do it where, let's say you're a broker, or maybe you're an investor and you're involved in several companies, and you want each company to keep things separate because they may have some staff who will help in this process, and maybe the founders will actually take the meetings. And for that reason, we created the support for a user, your account, to join several portals. And it says agency panel here, and here's the portals. You can switch between them. But basically, it's not just for agencies. We probably should change this name, to be honest. But it's for brokers, for investors, for anyone that runs several companies. So you can create a new portal, and on each portal always share the CRM. And a portal is meant for an organization. So you would create a separate HubSpot for that organization, and everything will be kept separate. So that's one way to manage several companies. So it's flexible. You choose how you want to do it. And think about a license. A license is meant for a person, and so that means you can only connect one LinkedIn per license, and one email. So if you want to get someone else on your team involved, you would create you would buy another license, basically. But you can have several LinkedIn accounts, although officially it's not legal. I mean, they don't want you to have multiple LinkedIns. But if you do that, I recommend that you make the profiles a bit different. Use different pictures, because it's not officially, you shouldn't do it. But you can merge these accounts later, so that's an option if you kind of want to scale things. But otherwise, you just get a team member on board. And let's see. You can go in here and actually buy licenses if you want several licenses, and then you can assign them. And when you assign a license, it will ask you, do you want to create a new portal? And so that's how that works. But the best way to get started is basically to click the try for free button, and it will take you to this page again. So the free option is always free, and the pro is a 7-day free trial, and we won't charge you anything as long as you cancel before the 7 days are over. And I recommend you wait till like the 6th day to cancel, because otherwise you may lose access to your account and some of the features. But if you then continue after the 7 days, it would be $297 a month. And we have introduced this pricing the last quarter. We actually usually charge $499, but you can do $297 for now. And if you commit to a year, it's only $238 a month. So that's quite affordable. I know that usually when you're an early stage company, you are raising capital for a limited number of months. I mean, you're not doing it for the rest of your life typically, as if you're if you are a broker or an asset manager or have a fund, then you usually never really stop raising capital. So those people typically work with us a longer time. But otherwise, like, you can do a month at a time and then stop, take a pause, and continue later. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Like, I'm developing new options. I'm trying to improve things. Some of it is the community aspect of this platform, which I think everyone will appreciate a lot when it's launched. But there is gonna be 2 more license options. And I'm just sharing this with you because I think it's good if you know what's coming up. So I will call this pro version, I will call it tier 3. Is for demonstrating this example, okay? And then we're gonna have 2 options in the middle here. It's gonna be tier 1 and tier 2. And tier 1 will be where you will get, of course, the free community, but you'll actually get the database too. And you'll be able to reach out to X number of people manually. So not through the campaigns per month. And those people will go over to the CRM as well. And then we're actually gonna launch a CRM aspect on this platform. So if you don't want to use HubSpot, you can actually use our CRM and just manage everything on the hub. But we'll allow you to use both. So it will sync 2-way. So it will be like an exact replica of each other. That way, everyone's happy. So that's what we're planning there. And this will be a very low price, but I think we'll only charge for it for 1 year, but it will be something like $29 a month. And we do that because if you're a startup, you've managed to raise money, you still want to run investor relations, right? You still want to do marketing, keep investors updated. and sometimes reach out to new investors or partners or board members or whatever, and downgrading then to the tier 1 will help you do that in a very, very affordable way. And then tier 2 that we're going to launch is where you get all that, of course, as well, the CRM, but will also allow you to run campaigns. But those campaigns will not support LinkedIn, and they will be to your existing contacts. So, when you run in the Pro or version here, you basically unlock people. These go into your systems, you own these contacts, and we will allow you in this tier 2 version to run communication to them basically unlimited. It won't be 150 per day. It will be newsletters, how much you want, and we'll only charge something like $99 a month. So there's going to be more options because I think we need to help you accommodate all the situations you're in. Yeah, that's that. And then I want to share something else, which is it's a bit of a secret, actually. Not many people know this. So I've had some clients who been having multiple licenses of this for 2-3 years. Very loyal clients. Some of them are brokers, advisors, and they've been using it ever since before we actually launched this interface. And what some of them do is they use it to get clients. And the reason they're with me is because they're getting clients, right? So it pays for itself. So I've got the database, the investors. That's a completely separate database, 100,000 plus. And we work on that very hard to make sure it's good quality. And that's through, we've leased databases, we bought databases, we do data mining, we do marketing, we reach out to people give us their details. And so that's how we built the database. But there is another database, if you will. And that's people. And there's currently like 3 to 5 million people in this database. It might sound like a little, but this is actually a very significant feature, because what it does is that you're able to reach anyone on LinkedIn, and that's currently at least 350 million people. And to do that, I'm just going to bring something up here. To do that, you need LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Now, are you familiar with Sales Navigator? I think some of you are. But Sales Navigator, I think it costs something like $50 or maybe $60, $70 a month. But it allows you to search all the people on LinkedIn. So you can search based on their title, their location, their seniority, and stuff like that. And it allows you to actually find really good senior people, decision makers. And so obviously it's a great way to prospect, and it's quite popular these days. But you can, when you do a search like this on LinkedIn, there's in the URL bar, in the bar here, you will get a URL. And so you just copy paste that, press here, and this gives you the instructions. And then you submit it here. And what it will do is it will create a list for you right away. It will be a static list. And then our system over the next hours and the next days will import people from LinkedIn into the system. And then you can just add that list to a campaign. And you can run outreach to people. So what type of people are doing this? So it's typically people who may want to recruit a board, team members. Sometimes they do sales, and so when they're not connecting with investors, they may just run a campaign to make sales. And so that's something that I don't actually market at all, because it's not really within the scope of what our mission is, right? But it is a very powerful thing, and I use this myself, and so that's a great way to get clients as well. Is there any questions popping up so far? Yes, I registered, but my password is not working. Yeah, so Jeff, what I will do is I will send you a new password, and then you just use that password. I'll do that after this call. And I'll send you some notes as well. And can I give you an update on that? Thank you. Very nice tool, yes. And maybe something else that I think can be useful for you to know. And that's the database. I'll talk a little bit about the database. So you probably know that thank you, Victor, that there's data providers out there like PitchBook. I think they charge $2,000 a month. So it's quite a premium service. And then Preqin, something similar. And then there's some company, I think they went out of business last year because people weren't really willing to pay them. Maybe there was the competition or too much money or whatever. But these providers, I think PitchBook has like 600 employees, and we're like 4 people. So it's a bit of a difference, of course. But I'm gonna give you a bit of a comparison what you can expect in terms of the data. So PitchBook, Preqin, in my opinion, is more meant for data analysis. Like what their team is working on is adding a lot of data. So if you want to do complex data, like I've got a client actually, he used PitchBook to find investments for his VC or fund of funds. And he spots trends early and stuff like that. And so that's the kind of thing you'd want to use PitchBook for. We're more geared toward actually connecting you with investors, actually getting you meetings. But that being said, there is something all these providers, including ourselves, have in common, and that's where we get the data. Now, I've told you that we lease data, we bought databases, we actually get our own data from advertising and from reaching out to people, and that's data that only we have. But we all share data to some extent. I would say probably up to 80% of the data at least overlaps. And that's because things like Crunchbase. Maybe you've heard about Crunchbase. It's a data set. They offer a data set of a lot of people, especially in technology, angels and stuff like that, VCs. So a lot of in the startup sector. And I think that database is, I mean, it's quite a big set, and you can access it for like 329 or something per year. So that's nice. But and all these, you know, PitchBook, Preqin, they've actually built their service on top of the data set. And that's the thing, like they got that, everyone got that data, and then what's offered on top of that is I would say what's special. But the thing with Crunchbase is that only half of the people have LinkedIn. There's no emails. I think there may be phone numbers, but not so much. And you can't really run any type of campaigns or any structure things in a nice way where you know who you followed up with. It's just like the names, basically. So I guess that's the difference. But I thought you should know that because it gives you some insight into the data, so you can compare. Any thoughts on that? I think I've covered pretty much everything. I always forget something, but yeah, I've tried to cover everything, and then there's some smaller aspects as well, like emails. So okay, maybe we should talk about this because I think not a lot of people are aware of email, how that works, email marketing, but it's something you should know, and I want to share it with you quickly, and I think that will be the last thing, and then maybe I'll take a question. So we obviously allow you to send emails, and the campaigns are capped at 150 new investors per day. And one of the reasons is because you cannot invite more than 200 people on LinkedIn per day, per account, or you risk your account's integrity, or you may be banned or whatever. And same thing with email, like the only way to really email a lot of people is to do it to a list that is subscribed. Because if your open rate is low or people say unsubscribe, there's something called sending reputation. And this is where Gmail, Outlook, and different like spam sites, they kind of keep like a log of your activity and how great and engaging your emails are. So if a lot of people unsubscribe or report you as, oh, this is spam or whatever, your reputation goes down, and all of a sudden your email open rates go from 20-30% down to like 5, 8, 10%. And that's a shame because you spend money building this list of people, and you want everybody to see your emails, right? Now, there's ways to get out of that. You just stop sending for a while. You make sure you only send to people that are engaging with your emails, and you can repair your domain. But it's the domain that is flagged. And so that's why we don't allow you to send to all these people. You only send to a few, small number of people, and that way you don't actually get a bad email reputation. That being said, like that's okay if you have a domain, you've been doing sending for some time, it's not a new domain, you're sending emails, then that will be okay. You can use that email. But if you just started a company, you bought your domain 1 or 2 weeks ago, and you've never sent an email, your email will be eventually, over the weeks and months, it will be basically put into spam lists, and your email open rate will go down temporarily. But you can repair it. But what I recommend if you're in that situation is that you keep your main domain, your business domain. You only use it to send to people that are on your email list, so they're subscribed, and that way you never put that domain in danger. And then what you do for our system is you just get a separate domain. So instead of investmenthub.io, you will get investmenthub.us or .eu, and you use that domain to send the emails, basically. So it's a small adjustment. It doesn't really change the perception of your business, but it just makes sure you protect yourself, right? And then if eventually that domain goes bad, you just stop using it for a while. Maybe you have a second domain, you use that, and then go back. And then eventually, if you want, you can just use your main domain. So these are small technical things, but they actually make a big difference. So I thought I would mention that. So now, before we end the call, do you have any questions? Great. So I think we'll end it there then. And Jeff, I'll send you your password. I have another call after this, so I will do it in the next hour, okay? I appreciate your time, and if you have questions, just reach out to me. Thanks. See you later.